How's everybody doing? Super excited to get out and fish this year. It's early spring. It's first week in March, and one fly that I would not want to miss in my repertoire of bugs would be a tailwater sow bug, or what we call a pill popper. And this pill popper that we're going to tie today probably be my number one fly to fish when there's no bugs hatching. And even when they are hatching, sometimes I'll actually prefer it over whatever hatch it is. So a lot of times during the blue-winged olives, I'll throw the pill popper along with maybe a green machine to imitate the blue-winged olive. But I've even had times when I can see the bugs coming off, and for whatever reason they're still eating those sow bugs. Sometimes I'll have a pill popper and what we call a tailwater sow bug. The pill popper is basically a tailwater sow bug with a bead on it. And anyway, so sometimes I'll throw the pill popper up top and then the sow bug on the bottom. So anyway, yeah, this is the pill popper. I'm going to show it to you. If you're fishing the Missouri River, I would not want to be out here without a bunch of these. I like it in the size 16. You can definitely fish it in an 18. You can fish it big ones too, but if I had one size to tie, it would probably be a 16 that I would use. And yeah, tie with the bead and without. Pill popper is with the bead, and without it's just a regular tailwater sow. Okay. All right, so some of the tying materials, I'll just show them to you real quick. Using fluorescent pink 70 denier. Let's see what else. We've got some black small wire that we're going to be using. You want to have a nice little pin to pick out the dubbing. And then I've used up all this. Basically this is all I have left of this package here, but it's tan rainbow what do you call it, sow dubbing. And let's see, what else am I missing? Oh, and nice fluorescent pink bead. Probably can't see it here, but it's a 2.3 tungsten. And anyway, that's this fly's super easy to tie, and so you won't feel bad if you do lose any of them. And try to use my old scissors to cut this wire. So I will do that. And I usually cut it deep into the scissors just so I burn through so many scissors. Try to protect them as much as I can, but all right. Oh, and the other thing I didn't mention was been using a couple different. I've got two different colors that I've been playing with. One of them's brown, one of them's kind of that greenish black. Anyway, it's going to be that bloodline on the back of the fly. We'll throw brown in there. That's what I've been tying most of them with. I tied with a brown marker in the past, and then I started messing with this, and I just like how it accents that bloodline a little bit better, because sometimes that marker gets a little bit faded after some time. I'm going to put a quick dubbing loop in there. Don't have to have a big one. And I don't dub it really tight because I want to be able to pick it out later on. I'm going to put a little dubbing loop spinner on there, and try to evenly put it in there. I'll put it in there pretty full. I want to have enough to pick it out. So you can see that's a pretty healthy amount. I usually turn it upside down when I do this, just to get everything out of the way when I spin it, so it doesn't like bang into stuff. And yeah, like it nice and frilly here. And then I'm just going to take and put my hackle pliers on it, and then I usually just cut it out. Now I'm working with just my hackle pliers, and I'm going to dub it on there. And I want to cover up this thread pretty good, but I also want to have it pretty fat. And you can see as I start to get into some of this stuff, it's going to get bushy, and it may have too much on there, and that's okay. I'll keep it for later. I'll just peel it back and make sure I can keep putting it in there up to that bead. And if you've ever seen a sow bug, I'll pop the sow bug in there
once we start to shape it, it helps to kind of have a visual in your mind of what these guys look like. They're pill bugs. They have a rounded shape to them. And yeah, just take a peek at them online. I'll try to put a picture up in there and give you something to think about when you're doing it. And then what I sometimes do is I'll catch this hook point. Sometimes even with my wire, I gotta watch that, but with the dubbing, so I'll run my scissors through that so that when I start to wrap the wire, that I don't have a problem. So first thing we're gonna do though is we're gonna pop that bloodline in there. And I'm just gonna lay it down, and I'm gonna fold back, catch that one more time, and then just trim it out. We're literally moving through this fly pretty quick. It's not a long time. Again, here I'm just making sure I'm not catching that hook point as I'm rolling through. You don't need tight wraps on it in terms of being close to each other. You want to have some good spacing, and it helps you later to pick it out. If it's too tight in there, you're going to have a hard time picking out the hair. And so helicopter this off, and then at this point the fly is done except for the trimming stage and picking out the dubbing that we're going to use. Alright, so if you can see it right now, that's a mess, huh? Make sure this thing is still showing. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look to show you and see it myself. Just going to sneak my right across that bloodline. Anything that's been caught, it's going to pull it up right across that bloodline. So that's usually my first step. Still some in this back here, and I just want to see that bloodline completely. So still getting some. And it's funny, it gets captured when you throw that wire on there. There's always like one little teeny one that you want to get there. Just show you in a second how much I cleaned it up just by doing that little bit there. You can see. And what we'll do is later we're going to trim the top of this and the bottom of this flat so it looks like the sow bud. So just got one more. Alright, so then what I do is I'll take the sides, and sometimes I don't want to bend the hook too much, so if you grab too much of it at once, it's a little bit tough to do. So if it feels like it's really tight in there, don't grab too much at once, because you're gonna weaken your hook. And the big thing you want to do here is don't come in and catch that black wire. Because if you come in there and pull that black wire, then it's going to get pulled away from the body, and then things are going to kind of fall apart. And you can bend that wire and pull it away from the hook. So that's one side brushed out, and then we're just going to come in and catch this other side now. And again, it's pulling out pretty easy, so I'm taking a decent chunk. But sometimes you can feel it when you stick it in there, and it's like it's not moving. Just back it away, grab less, and come back in and grab it again. And it looks really, really fuzzy at this point, but once you get it all trimmed up, it'll look nice. This probably takes more time than time to fly itself. So that's it. That's now ready for the trimming stage, and this is where I'll probably throw a picture up there for you so you can see it. Hopefully my hands are not in the way, but I'm just going to take it and trim it. I can't see it, so I won't measure it right. So I'm going to just trim. I trim it just along each side first, and after I do that, then I shape it. And you want a kind of a rounded shape with these. And then the other thing you want to do is trim the tops flush. You don't want to take these sides off when you do it, unless it's just really bushy like that was there. There'll be some big ones that are big strands that are kind of hanging around that we're going to get rid of. And then we're going to come underneath it and trim that flat as well. And sometimes you just gotta clean it up and look at it and then decide, all right, let's round it now. So I'm just gonna take this, round that a little bit, and round it in the back. We're almost there. Got it flat underneath, flat on top, and rounded around the edges. And this bug really is a unbelievable fly, especially in the spring. Like if you're fishing in April, May, and then early June, for sure. Sometimes when you get into those June times, you're definitely going to be on the PMDs more, but even during the early PMDs, I've had days where I just want to eat this saddle bug. And if I had, you know, you'll hear people talk about scuds. If sometimes I'll throw a scud up top and a sow bug below. It's kind of funny, if I had one fly, it would be a sow bug, I think. A lot of times when I have the scud on there, they still eat the sow bug instead. So anyway, that's just my experience. I'm sure somebody will say they catch more on scuds than they do sow bugs, but I think I would favor the sow bug. If I had one of these to fish, I would put a sow bug on before a scud. Just my own personal preference, I guess. Anyway, that's it. You can see it's a 2.3 tungsten bead, and this is basically a tailwater sow bug, which they call a pill popper, and all they do is they put a bead on it. And if you were to take this bead off, I would tie these without the bead, and that's just your straight tailwater sow bug. Sometimes I'll fish this up top, and I'll throw a standard tailwater sow bug, and I'll fish 2 sow bugs, or I'll fish an orange bead and a pink bead. And if I had one color on the Missouri River, it would be pink over orange, but there's some days they do eat the orange pretty prevalent too. But anyway, those are just my preferences. I love pink, and it just seems to, I'm sure they probably triggers them for an egg or something, I don't know, but it's a really powerful pattern in the spring, and it works all the time though. You could fish it all summer long, and it would surprise you how many fish you'd get on this fly. It's a real good source of protein for these fish in the river, and they're starting to eat them now. So it's definitely something you want to have on your rigs when you're fishing the Missouri River.
Good luck.
I think he's not. I thought he was on the leech. He's on the pill popper.
Here he comes. He's fighting, man. He doesn't want to be here. Ugh. We got him.
Nice.